I'm Ellie Janacek, and I'll be presenting my final research presentation on William Eggleston. He's most known for making colored photography a legitimate and famous form of artistic medium. Eggleston began to dabble with color in 1965 and 1966 after being introduced to the format by William Christenberry. Color transparency film later became Eggleston's dominant medium in the later 1960s. His development as a photographer seems to have taken place in relative isolation from other artists, and he primarily focused on his own style and not the influence of other artists. Main life events. As a young child, Eggleston attended a boarding school that discouraged his interest in art and his artistic abilities. Not for long, though, because after graduation, he attended numerous colleges. Eggleston attended Vanderbilt University for a year, Delta State College for a semester, and the University of Mississippi for about 5 years. Through all this, he got no degree or diploma. However, his interest in photography took root when a friend at Vanderbilt gave Eggleston a camera, and he was introduced to abstract expressionism at Ole Miss by visiting painter Tom Young. My thesis for this whole presentation is that William Eggleston established color photography as an art form and paved the way for all photographers of today with his bright colors and innovative shots. Also, there's a big change in his work from early life to his older years. How did he become an artist? Where did he go to school, and who taught him? After receiving a camera from his aforementioned friend, Eggleston took a photography class and began experimenting with the art form by making many shots around his hometown, first in black and white film. He did go to several colleges but got no degree, and he had little teachers. Mainly, he used trial and error to find what worked in photography. He had always been a creative child, according to his family, which is why he started making art. The style that Eggleston is in is very similar to high-end advertising of his childhood years. His medium is colored photography. Eggleston used a process that allowed him to enhance the bright colors in his work with a dye transfer process that was used in advertising at the time. He was influenced by his environment and the life of a common American, which he based most of his works off of. His most notable works are Memphis, his colored work, and The Red Ceiling, which is known for its intense red color. Eggleston was very influential because he was one of the first photographers that achieved vivid colors, and this paved the way for all other colored photographers that were to come after him. He's still very influential in art as he's one of the first, and he adapted the technique of color photography into a true fine art. Eggleston was motivated by the everyday common American. He wanted to take everyday life that he experienced and that he knew that his audience experienced and show how bright and colorful life can be and that life is art. Recently, a collection of 36 prints by William Eggleston was sold for $5.9 million at auction. He is put on the same level of recognition with Warhol and Van Gogh. Eggleston's work epitomizes an entirely new movement in art. In this case, the movement that established color photography as a legitimate art form in a time when all serious art photography was black and white, and there was really no color in art. Early career in comparison to his later years. This is a picture titled Winston Eggleston, and it was created in 1995. This is one of his later pictures, and it's a snapshot of Eggleston's son when he was 21 years old. Winston is slouched with his head leaning on the back of the sofa, a booklet of some sort that unfolds across his chest. His forehead is scared, and he looks directly into the camera as if his father, the photographer, he looks very defensively at him. The angle of the shot is askew, capturing the son's mood while his eyes engage the viewer, giving the picture a very strong emotional aspect. His face is illuminated, yet partly in the shadows is the focus of the image. Although behind him, the light from the lamp draws the viewer's attention towards the back of the room, where the daylight is coming through a window. This daytime scene takes place inside the house. This suggests an intimacy between father and son who's not shy away from being photographed. This picture gives a lot of emotion and creates a very strong feeling in the viewer. It's different from his earlier pieces because he's using less of the signature vibrant colors and is now doing portraits and using light to affect perspective. The subject is also very different. He's taking pictures of his family and not of common American life. This is one of his earlier pieces titled Memphis, and he created this in 1965. It was Eagleston's first successful color negative. It was taken just as he had just started experimenting in color at an American supermarket. As his wife Rosa explains, we were surrounded everywhere by this plethora of shopping centers and ugly stuff. And that is really initially what he started photographing. This is a great example of the everyday American life that he's famous for photographing. In this portrait, a box boy, Eagleston captures the boy's ritualistic act of pushing a chain of empty shopping carts into the store, taken straight on but slightly tilted, similar to the picture of his son. The teenage boy's profile and left arm registered the warm afternoon sunlight, casting a shadow on the wall of the store. In the background, a well-dressed woman is walking into the store while towards the boy in the carts. The boy's absent-minded expression may be inconsequential. However, the dramatic light casts a golden aurora over his profiled face, left arm, and upper torso, lifting him out of the everyday and giving him an angelic feeling. The way that Eagleston captured the golden light caused a vivid color that most photographers of the time couldn't capture. This is a perfect example of the way that art takes a common everyday life and elevates it into something grand and artistic. This piece also has a lot more artistic elements like lines in the shopping carts and color, not only in the bright lighting, but in the pure, bright whiteness of the boy's shirt. Analysis of how Eagleston paved the way for future artists, mainly photographers. This is one of his more famous paintings, Greenwood, Mississippi. It was photographed in 1973. Eagleston is known for capturing stunning color combinations in his pictures. His eye for color, enhanced by his dye transfer process, ultimately established color photography to become a legitimate art form. When speaking on this picture, he once said, "The deep red color was, quote, so powerful I've never seen it reproduced on the page to my satisfaction. When you look at a dye transfer print, it's like it's red blood that is wet on the wall. This all-consuming blood-red color, combined with the bareness of the room and the eerie light bulb, created an unsettling sense of mystery and a sexual undertone. Most photographs were still in black and white, so the vibrant red pigment was shocking to the public and truly paved the way for color photography. In this time, there was almost no other photographer that could accomplish a picture like this, and now, to us, this is a common picture, which goes to show how Eagleston was able to pave the way and create innovations in the photography world. In conclusion, William Eagleston is one of the most renowned photographers and is on the same historic level as Van Gogh for his innovation in the field, which he would never have been able to obtain without his failure in college and a good friend gifting him a camera. With innovation, he was able to develop in his field and grow his styles and techniques, changing them over time and through his later years of artistry. However, even after Eagleston passes, his legacy in colored photography will live on forever.